Hello world. It's still Wednesday, the 16th of July 2025. No, but it's the evening. No, it didn't happen. Nobody came to my shop today to ask me about Dr. Leve. But I did have a conversation with two people. We're just testing the idea about the pyramids being natural structures that grow from the planet, crystals growing from pore pressure, the motor action of water has a motor action and it gravitates to a geometric shape, and that's the pillars underneath the pyramids, and that's water being funneled up from the center, and it's a superheated steam is produced at the center of the planet because water leaks into the center of the planet from the outside. A drop of water leaks in and that's immediately vaporized, superheated steam forced out, massive expansion, and that expansion slows as the surface becomes more viscous. Exponential increase of viscosity as expansion increases. So the bigger the engine gets, the slower the surface goes, and it's cooling, but it's still expanding. Now it'll get to the point where it stops expanding and it grips and pressure builds. So can you see a pressure cooker system? As it's growing, infinite water fed into the center, and it's really hot, so that's just keeps going and expanding. But there is resistance in viscosity of surface as the water slows, and because of the geometrical formation of slowing of the viscosity of carbon and iron in perlite, turning from the two combinations of carbon and iron are both unstable. Yeah? So they'll just switch between the two, and that causes different actions and geometries. So everything's been created from the iron and the carbon. Motion creates matter, and that creates a shell around the engine. Now the water that is now being pushed out is now cooled to a temperature, but that temperature is maintained at a certain distance from the center, where viscosity, Goldilocks zone, is the atmosphere. It's created. And at the atmosphere you've got the surface of water. So the lower bound of the atmosphere is the surface of water, below that is the dimension of water, and above the atmosphere is the dimension of water. But there is a distance between, based on the recursive action of expansion, which is inverted here, meter squared, second squared. When we breathe, there's a total transform of the energy from one form of heat, expansion, inertia, into another, awareness of the light, the colour that's created in the reflection in the distance of the duration of the expansion. And each moment duration of Planck's constant 6.62607015 currently, times 10 to the minus 34 seconds, real seconds. When you look at the sphere of water, it exists for that duration in real seconds. Inside, it's the same number, but it's Newton meter second squared. And that's the lever arm duration of the surface area. Okay? And that force now has to go right to the outside of the universe, to the cosmic microwave background, to the sphere, the temperature, the ice 18, where the transform is reflected back in the windows that are created, austenitic windows, in the outside of the universe, the cosmos. And that is then the center of the planet, because there's a dimensional connection between the two. So water leaks in, it just arrives at the center. A particle of water, every tiny duration, is created, and that's mass energy. And so static, you've got a recursive system now built on pressure. The pressure is so great, but it creates additional pressure, pushing back the elasticness. So the action of gravity is to clamp in a rigid body instant. So Leve's rigid body mechanics is you get a clamping action, yeah, clamp, momentum, and that the rigid body instant from outside appears as a single thing, a single entity. Matter appears to exist as a rigid body permanently, but it isn't. It's just we observe it and are aware of it in the moment of consciousness, the flash of light that we can't see. So in every duration of Planck's constant there's a flash of light. That flash of light has a reflection from the shell that's created, and that's what we're aware of. So there is a flash of light and we see that flash, but because the flash comes from us, we don't see the flash, we just see the reflection of it in that tiny duration. And again, that appears like a continuous thing of consciousness, just continuous. It's not. It's clamp, 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 clamp. And so by bringing your awareness to this idea, you can now start to see where we are as a people, as a species, how great this is, and also the size of the lie when you know I got all this from Dr. Levy. So Dr. Levy, 1906, his physics dissertation is about vector potential in the living force. And what he proves is that there is, before there is when in a collision of rigid bodies, and the rigid body instant is a collision, you get it, with itself, clamp, clamp. In that first moment of collision, the first thing that occurs is a velocity change in vector potential, but there's no change in position. So the speed of the collided body changes, but its position doesn't change. And how is that possible? It's because it makes a sound and a temperature first. So there is a sound and there is a temperature change, and then there is motion. So that's what you're seeing, or hearing in this case, is the sound. So that's vector potential 1906. 1908, the Tunguska event is a nuclear explosion. It's the culmination of Levy's physics dissertation. They must have been delighted. But it's a burst of compressed air. Comes out the centre, disk. It's a disk of compressed air. Spits out the centre of the vortex if you change the pressure sufficiently in the vortices to create a greater lift. You split the atom and you get a disk. And so all the explosive stuff is all a lie to frighten you, to stop you looking at it. Yeah, made up. It's a disk of compressed air, very powerful. Look what it did to Tunguska. So there you go. So it's proven. 1906, 1915. Now he's taken it right into water, and he now understands that the Earth's the centre of the universe, and therefore he's closing that door. You're not allowed to see that, and because if you follow Levy's thinking, you will know that, and you're not allowed to, because God says so. So this is not about Levy or anything like that. This is brilliant. God's the director. You get it. You're an actor. You get it. You think everyone's going, oh, they're actors. Everyone's an actor about stuff. Yes, we're all actors. We're in a play, and God's the director. And it's a morality tale. And the point is to learn about love and to trust God and to know that Christ is King. Once you've learned that, then the species, we live in harmony and love on the planet forever. And it's like the Truman Show, that knowing that the pyramid is a dimensional organic growth from the planet, that it grows itself, it's a crystal seed. Of course, if you look into it, you'll find ways that it could have been constructed, potentially. So you find the blocks and the cuts and the tunnels, and everything you find looks like it's been man-made, but all you know is it's been made. And it's a dimensional entity created by the shape of the water. And when we get it flowing again, it will make sense, because they're drainage ports. The bath in the King's Chamber will fill with water. And it'll flow forever, greening that area, changing the planet forever. And so finding that there's a natural growth, it's like finding the Truman Show, where he finds the door outside. There's a screen in the sky. He steps up, because what's this? There's an edge to my reality. And the pyramids being natural, and natural growth is that edge. We found something really profound, absolutely provable. Provable why? Why it's that shape? It's the base of a hypercube. In tension, that's where those centers are slightly tucked in. And it's pore pressure of water. So the pore pressure of water creates everything. And that's a unifying theory, Sabine. Look, not a waste of time at all. Yeah? Physicists are a fucking waste of time. Entirely. So we're quite upset out here, as you can imagine, because I'm fucking sick of it. Sick of listening to your shit, all of you. Yeah. So listen to me, Acts 3, 22, 23, or don't listen to me. I don't give a fuck. Follow the Rebel King. See you in the future.